guess I'm ready. Hi, everybody. I'm Micah. So today, the person I want to honor today is my dad. In a lot of ways, he reminds me, like, hearing his story and the story I'm going to share reminds me a lot of myself. Because when he was in high school, he didn't really know what he wanted to do, and my whole high school career, I was back and forth. I wanted to be a pilot, and then I wanted to be a mechanic, and then I didn't really know, and I've found out what I want to do now. But my dad was the same way, and he was just really looking for what God had for him, and God started to show him, I want you in missions. And so he obeyed God's calling, and he started going to Calvary Bible College in Kansas City. And while he was there, he met my mom, and she was since she was 4, she always wanted to be a missionary. So that just confirmed God's calling for him to be a missionary. And then as he continued to go there, he got more interested in aviation, and specifically being a pilot. So he completed his private pilot's license and commercial license. And then after that, he went to A&P school so that he could also fix airplanes. And then after that, he knew that he wanted to serve overseas somewhere. So he went to New Tribes Mission and began training there. Yeah, you know what that is. So he was doing his training there, and he was really excited. He had picked where he was going to go. He was going to Papua New Guinea, and they have an extensive need for pilots. So he was really excited that that's where God was calling him to go. And then he took the flight evaluation, to see how ready he was to fly overseas. And at the end of the flight evaluation, the instructor said, you probably need more experience before you can go overseas. And to my dad, he had always dreamed of being a pilot, but he knew that God's calling on his life was to be a missionary, not just a pilot. And to him, it was conflicting, because he knew that he would love to be a pilot, but he also knew that God was calling him towards missions. So at that moment, he had to make a decision, whether to follow God's will or to follow his own dream. And at that time, he decided that he would rather just go overseas as a mechanic to follow God's calling. And so he went overseas as a mechanic, not as, I guess, glorious or as being a pilot, but he went overseas as a mechanic, and he's been there now for 20 plus years. And so to me, that just shows the importance of, sometimes we have plans for our lives, and sometimes God will call you in a different direction. And that's really impacted me just growing up, that even if you don't have a plan, you can follow God step by step, and each individual step will lead you to where God wants you to be, even though it may not be where you thought you were going in the first place. And because my dad was willing to obey, God's calling for his life, he's been given lots of responsibilities. He's become the chief engineer in Papua New Guinea and the maintenance coordinator. So he's gotten a lot of responsibility given to him because he was faithful with just making the right step. I would just encourage all of you guys, you may not know what you want to do, but following God each step of the way. Maybe you don't have the big picture yet, but you can follow him right now and doing the little things that lead up to what he has for your life. So,
Great job.